Sixth graders, welcome to Wednesday night. Find your seats. We're going to get started shortly, but we're going to play a game first. In this game, I'm not going to have you run across everywhere. Oh, I know. It's too bad. Oh, sorry, Tanner. Should I walk over here, too? Just keep moving back and forth? No. All right. I'll try to stay in one spot. All right. Thank you for being here last week. I was not here last week because I got to visit my daughter in Arizona, and she bought me this hat. She goes to GCU, Grand Canyon University, and it was wonderful. So it was nice and warm there. And I understand it was warm here last week too, but was it 101 degrees? It was better? Yeah. It got a little hot. And actually, I got to walk across. We went on this hike. There's this, it's actually, I guess it's called the Devil's Bridge. I don't know why they call it. But it's this rock formation where you walk across it. Actually, I should have brought a picture, but I didn't. And underneath it, it's just a 100-foot drop. But you actually walk around, and you can take a picture from the other side of this chasm, and it just looks like you're standing on top of this rock with nothing underneath you. It was amazing. It took like 2 hours to hike up there. And you think you're in the middle of the Arizona desert, then you wait in a line like you're at Disney World to get on this path to get out to this rock. And it looks like you take a picture, and it looks like you're all by yourself standing on this rock. And I actually was with my family. We took a picture of this rock, and somebody takes it for you. But then you look, when you're looking out taking the picture, it's this line that's an hour long to get out on this rock, like you're standing for an amusement ride in the middle of nowhere. So you're 2 hours out into the desert to get on this place. And it's this long line. But when you look at the picture, it's like desert out in the middle of nowhere. But I took video on it because all of my friends look at, man, that must have been amazing. I said, it is. But then if you could only see what I could see of the hundreds and hundreds of people just waiting in line to get out there. But it was an amazing time. So thank you for Josiah for speaking last week. I don't know if he's here. But this week, we are going to finish up our series called Limitless. This week's topic is, with God, you are not limited by negativity. Now, we live in a very positive world, don't we? No. Okay? So this week, we're going to talk about that. What does it mean not to be limited by all the negativity that goes around us? And the negativity that's in our hearts and in our heads. What would that mean to not be limited by that? And if you have God with you, what does that mean not to be limited by that? So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. But like I said, we're going to play a game first. So this game, you maybe played it before. It's called Heads or Tails. Okay? So the idea of this game is you want to be the last person standing. So everyone stand up. And I'm going to trust your honesty on this. I don't want anybody cheating, okay? So I'm going to I'm going to go 3, 2, 1, and you're going to declare. So if you're going to declare heads, you're going to put both your hands on top of your head, okay? If you're going to declare tails, you're going to put both your hands on your back or in your tail if you want to, okay? I'm going to flip the coin. If it's heads and you have both your hands on your head, you stay standing. If you have your hands on your tail, what are you going to do if it's a head? Okay, you would sit down. So it's basically guessing heads or tails. So think about it. Are you going to guess heads or tails when I flip the coin right now? So 3, 2, 1, guess heads or tails. And I'm going to flip the coin, and it is, Does anybody have a coin? That seriously just happened. Thank you. Yes, round one. Oh, look at backup coin too. You're all winners first round. All right, I'll give you another chance to declare. All right, heads or tails? You can change your mind this time because you all won the first time. I'm going to back up this time. I'm not going to let it fall in there. All right, heads or tails? Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and it is heads. So if you said heads, stay standing. If you said tails, sit down. Ooh, we got a lot of people say tails. All right. Are you going to stay with that same choice? Or are you going to change? What are you going to do? Are you going to stay the same or change? Right. 3, 2, 1. Make your choice. Heads or tails? Here we go. What do you think it is? It is heads. All right, if you chose heads, stay standing. If you chose tails, sit down. All right, it's been heads twice in a row now. Do you think it's going to be heads again? Or do you think it's going to be tails? Make your choice. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Make your choice. All right, here we go. Flip on the coin. Heads. You think it's a weighted coin? Are you going to take that chance? It has now been heads 3 times in a row. Make your choice. 3, 2, 1. Make your choice. Heads or tails? Ooh, we got a lot of people choosing heads. What's it going to be? Heads. Whoa. All right. If it was tails, you sit down. All right. Here we go. Will it be heads 5 times in a row? Are you going to make that chance? Or are you going to choose to go tails? All right. Make your choice. 3, 2, 1. All right. Looks like, did anybody choose tails? Okay, we could have, oh, yeah, we do have someone that chose tails. Here we go. Heads. I'm on a streak here. Can this coin roll a tail? All right, this would be 6 times in a row. Are you going to take a chance? Are you going to take a chance this time? Here we go. Heads or tails? 3, 2, 1. All right, looks like everyone thinks I'm going to do a heads again. Here we go. Tails. We had no winners. You said tails? No, I didn't think so. All right, so we had 6 heads in a row and finally tails. Nobody was daring enough to take a chance. All right, everyone's up again. Let's play again. We have to have a winner. Here we go. All right, so it's not a weighted coin because we did get a tails. So are you going to take a chance that it's going to be a tails again on this first roll, or are you going to go heads? Here we go. 3, 2, 1, make your choice. All right, here we go. It's heads again. Those people that took the chance on the tails, sorry. All right, here we go. Make a choice. 3, 2, 1, heads or tails? I think most people are choosing heads, but if you choose tails, you could possibly win. Do you want to make that chance? All right, here we go. Heads. Did anybody take a chance? Oh, we had a couple people take. All right, we've had a lot of heads. If I were you, I'd probably choose tails. You going to try to trick you? All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, heads or tails? All right, here we go. I would have chosen tails, but it's heads again. This is an amazing run. Are you going to take that chance this time? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Heads or tails? Make your choice. All right, we got some people taking a chance. Are you going to? You going to make your choice? Here we go. The coin has been flipped. It is heads again. Tails, have a seat. All right. I believe we've done 10 tosses. It's been 9 heads, 1 tail. 3, 2, 1, heads or tails? Is anybody taking a chance? Oh, yeah, it looks like we got one person taking a chance. Oh, I convinced one other person. Here we go. Heads again. All right, we're getting down there. Anybody taking a chance? Here we go. 3, 2, 1, make your choice. Anybody take? Everyone's. Oh, no, we got 1 tails back there. If it is tails, you are the winner. Tails. We have a winner. What is your name? What is it? Clark? Mark. Mark, you are a winner, and you are in Trent's group? Awesome. Thank you for playing. You are a winner. You win a pat on the back from me. Or I'm patting my own back. All right. And thank you for the use of your 30 cents. Unfortunately, we'll never know. That first coin could have been a tails too. All right, so all of you, we have been going through and talking about Moses the last few weeks, and we're going to finish tonight talking about Moses. So the first week we talked about Moses, and we talked about how it was a miracle, how he was able to overcome and just overcome some amazing things. And last week, I assumed Josiah talked about some things with Moses and Aaron and things like that. Now this week we're going to talk about how Moses guided his people through out of Egypt and through some amazing things on the way to the promised land and through the wilderness and all these things that happen. And I don't know about you, but on Easter Sunday, they always show like the 10 Commandments. And I actually watched the 10 Commandments. And it just shows the journey of Moses through Egypt, from Egypt all the way through and getting the 10 Commandments. And it's an old movie, and my kids started watching it for me, and they said, "Dad, why are we watching this?" And I said, "Well, it's kind of entertaining." But we're going to talk a lot about what happens in that movie today through that. But Logan, could you play the next slide and roll the video, please?
Negativity. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear this word? I bet most of us know a negative person or two, and no pointing to your neighbor. A friend who always sees the glass half empty and not half full. A teacher who's almost always in a bad mood, or a parent who seems to only comment on your dirty room or smelly laundry and constantly reminds you of your need to make better grades. And even if it's true that your room is a disaster and you're failing half your classes, you still need to hear something positive. And wouldn't it be nice if your mom, dad, or teacher hit pause on all the negative commentary about your life?
We all have people in our lives that are pretty negative. It's also true that sometimes people aren't as negative as we think. It's just that it's way harder to recall the nice things people say than it is to remember the bad things. And sometimes we're our own sources of negative feedback. We can be harder on ourselves than other people.
Ever wonder why you remember every mean comment said to you with crystal clear details? You and I are like Velcro when it comes to negativity. It's like we're the soft, fuzzy side, and negativity is the hard, bristly side with all the hooks. Negative words easily attach to us. That's because our brains are wired that way. Our brains are trained to spot the negative, to point out the danger. That's why 10 great things can happen to you in a day, but you get stuck on that one mean thing someone said to you. It's like Velcro. When other things seem to slide right off of us, negativity sticks with us and can be hard to shake.
The problem is, we often let the negativity we hear or say define us, limit us, and even ruin us. A teacher or parent blames you for something or misunderstood what you were trying to say, and your day is ruined. Someone makes a sarcastic comment and it makes you embarrassed to continue in the conversation. Someone makes a joke about your appearance or how you can't throw a ball, or a teacher makes you feel bad for asking a dumb question, even though you were honestly just trying to understand. And now you're afraid to speak up again.
And when that happens, you start doubting yourself. And those negative comments start to have an impact on how you feel about yourself. You feel stuck in the land of negativity and let other people's careless words start to steer the direction of your life. And before you know it, you've lost the joy of just being yourself.
Thankfully, God knew we would struggle with this very thing. So he gave us stories and examples of people in the Bible who we can learn from. In the book of Exodus, we see how God used Moses to lead the Hebrew people out of slavery by taking them on a journey to a place called the Promised Land, a place where they could experience freedom and an easier life. It was a long, difficult trek, and along the way, the Hebrews had a tendency to be negative. They'd complain. They'd say they wanted to go back to Egypt. You know, the place where they were mistreated and held as slaves. To make matters worse, not only did they say these things, but their complaints were often directed at Moses, the guy who was trying to lead them toward a better life.
However, God was patient. The Israelites complained about needing fresh water, and God provided a source of water. They complained about not having yummy food like they had in Egypt, and God literally caused food to fall from the sky like rain. It's a cool story.
God responded to their complaining over and over again. But eventually, Moses reached his breaking point. Their grumblings wore him down. He started to question if he was a good leader. No matter how often God showed up and provided just the right amount of food, water, and guidance, the people of Israel still complained to and about Moses.
Remember how I said it was a long journey from Egypt to the Promised Land? Well, the Israelites spent a lot of time wandering around in the desert, moving from place to place. With that in mind, check this out. At the Lord's command, the whole community of Israel left the wilderness of sin and moved from place to place. Eventually, they camped at Rephidim, but there was no water there for the people to drink. So once more, the people complained against Moses. "Give us water to drink," they demanded. "Quiet," Moses replied. "Why are you complaining against me? And why are you testing the Lord?" But tormented by thirst, they continued to argue with Moses. "Why did you bring us out of Egypt? Are you trying to kill us, our children, and our livestock with thirst?" Then Moses cried out to the Lord, "What should I do with these people? They're ready to stone me."
The Israelites once again told Moses they were better off in Egypt in slavery. They were tired, hungry, and angry. You know, hangry. Look what God did. The Lord said to Moses, "Walk out in front of the people. Take your staff, the one you used when you struck the water of the Nile, and call some of the elders of Israel to join you. I will stand before you on the rock at Mount Sinai. Strike the rock, and water will come gushing out. Then the people will be able to drink." So Moses struck the rock as he was told, and water gushed out as the elders looked on. Moses named the place Massah, which means test, and Meribah, which means arguing, because the people of Israel argued with Moses and tested the Lord by saying, "Is the Lord here with us or not?"
Moses was super frustrated with all the complaining, and the only thing he could do was cry out and beg God for help. It wasn't something he could just fix on his own. However, God had the last word and stepped in to show Moses that the only words that matter are God's words.
Have you ever felt like Moses, weary from all the negativity? If you're discouraged and your heart is heavy because of other people's unkind or negative words, then please remember that their words don't need to steer how you live your life. When you feel broken down by the words of others, let God's words build you up. Don't let sarcastic or mean comments limit your potential.
God proved to Moses that he was there. God was in the desert, and he's still with us today. Other people's negativity didn't limit Moses' ability to lead. The Israelites' complaints didn't define his destiny. He was called to lead the people of Israel out of slavery in Egypt, and that's exactly what he did. But he didn't do it alone. God had his back.
If you get stuck and can't let go of the negative comments other people say, or your whole day is ruined by one negative comment, or you have a hard time dealing with criticism, then I want you to remind yourself of God's thoughts about you. Pick a few verses and really focus on what God says. Let His words become Velcro for you. Here's a couple places you can start. Put on your new nature, created to be like God, truly righteous and holy.
And this means that anyone who belongs to Christ has become a new person. The old life is gone, a new life has begun. Put these verses where you can see them. Each time you're faced with a negative comment that threatens to ruin your day or limit your potential, remind yourself of how God sees you.
I don't know if you're letting other people's thoughtless comments or sarcastic remarks discourage you from living a full and confident life, but I do know that God has the last word, and I'm confident that the same God who showed up for Moses when he was discouraged is the same God that has your back and thinks you're a pretty big deal. You're loved, forgiven, redeemed, and when you lean into all God says is true about you, then you truly are limitless. As you leave, I want you to think about this question: how will you deal with negativity?
So, like Moses, he was trying to do what God called him to do, and that was lead his people out of bondage and slavery, out of Egypt. Yet, life doesn't go always as perfectly as it planned, and those people started grumbling, complaining, and being negative. And sometimes we just start pointing our fingers at others and saying, well, they're the problem. God's the problem. Moses is the problem. And we start projecting our own fears and negativity and just pessimism and all this stuff on others when really instead of looking at ourselves. And too many times we think, well, I'm not the negative person. It's other people. And that's the hard thing that we learn from the story in Exodus, is that when we really get down to it, people aren't as negative as we think they are, because our tendency is really to see the bad things in life instead of all the good things that are happening in life. And when we don't notice all the good that's happening around us, and we only notice when the bad things pop up. And what I mean by that is, most of us think when we go to school, and we do really well in this class, and we do really well in this class, and we do really well in this class, and all of those classes that we work so hard in. But then there's this one class that maybe we don't get along with the teacher, or it's just really a struggle for us, and we get a grade that we're not really happy about. And we work so hard to get so good grades in all of these other classes, but there's that one class that we didn't get a good grade on, and that's all we concentrate on. It doesn't matter what we got in all the other classes. It doesn't matter how hard we worked and how proud of our parents or our friends might be how hard we worked, because you maybe got a grade that wasn't so good in just one class. And we emphasize so much on that one negative in our lives instead of the 7 or 8 positives. And that's where it's difficult. We don't think about that. Or we do so many good things in a day that maybe just go unnoticed. We help someone out, or we send a kind thought to someone, or we do our chores, or we make our bed. We just do these every normal day things that are just nice and good. But they just go unnoticed because it's just what we do. But then we just mess up on something. We forget to do something. Or our parents just say something mean to us. And all of those good things you did that day just melt away because we messed up one time. And maybe it was a little thing, and all that joy you had could just go because of one mess up. Because we just dwell so much on that negative. Or your friends. Let's say you just got this greatest outfit, or you got a new hat, or a new hairdo, or new shoes, or something. And you're going to school, and you're getting compliments. You're getting, on social media, people are just saying all these nice things about you all day long. I mean, how many likes can you get? I mean, if I'm on social media, maybe I get like 10 likes, I'm feeling good. You guys are probably getting 1,000 likes. Who knows? Okay? But then one person says something that you're a little bit like, well, that wasn't very nice. It's going to ruin your whole day. You could have 100 people say something fantastic about you, and one person says something sarcastic or mean to you. It's going to totally ruin your whole day, isn't it? Even though that shouldn't matter, because we dwell so much on the negative, so much so. We are most often the source of our own negativity, but we want to blame the world around us. And the problem is we often let negativity we hear or say define us, limit us, and even ruin us. As many of you know, I'm a teacher. I've been teaching middle school for over 20 years. I've been living a middle school life longer than you guys have been alive. And that can bring on some negative thoughts sometimes. Why am I a middle schooler my whole life? When I started, I was 23 years old. I am now 47 years old. So that's 24 years ago I started teaching middle school. And I was fresh out of college. I was only about 10 years older than you guys. So I was pretty young, and I was excited. I was a pretty positive person. I loved Jesus. and I wanted to serve kids. I wanted to be healthy. I was a phy ed teacher. I was a health teacher. I was on fire for Jesus. I was on fire for kids. And that lasted 5 years. And then I started working with other teachers in middle school. And there's a lot of teachers that you probably know in school that don't have good attitudes. They're pretty negative. And that can drain on you. Just like Moses with the Israelites. Being a positive person in a middle school is a tough job. And after 5 more years of teaching middle school, working with a coworker that was extremely negative, it took a toll on me. So that 5 years was tough, my second 5 years of teaching. And then the next 5 years after that, I was not a very nice person to my students. I was in a rut. My students probably did not like my class from years 10 to 15 of years of teaching. Because I was not there to teach. I was there to just be a teacher. My teacher that I worked with pretty much had taught me that, hey, we're here just to be teachers. We're not here for the kids. This is just a dead-end job. He had pretty much put me in that rut, though I thought I was still being positive. But when you're around negativity and you let that consume your life, that really takes control. But then something amazing happened. My coworker's wife came up to me one day and said, "Do you understand the positive influence you've had over my husband?" And I said, "What?" Because that really got me thinking about, wait a second, do you understand the negative influence your husband's been on me? And I said, "Can you tell me more?" He goes, "When you started first working there, he drank a lot, he swore more than I could ever imagine, and he came home so upset every single day." And that was 10 years ago. Now he gives me more attention than I've ever had. He barely drinks at all, and I haven't heard him swear in 5 years. And the reason is because of you. And I said, "I didn't even know I was doing this." And he says, "Your positive attitude has been amazing." And it hit me like a ton of bricks. Because that first 5 years of teaching with him made such an impact on his life, and that's when I was positive. And then the next 5 years, I stopped being positive, but I was still positive, and I didn't even know it. But I was negative in my heart. And then that next 5 years, I was just kind of in flatline mode. And I changed the way I thought. And I thought, wow, God spoke to me. I needed to hear that. And I changed the way I spoke to my coworkers. I changed the way I spoke to my students. And for the last 10 years, the way that I have taught, the way that I have went and looked at the way I work has been amazing. Because I enjoy what I do so much now. And it just needed God to almost be like what happened to Moses and the Israelites, of just waking me up and saying, "You need some manna from heaven. You need water to come out of a rock. You need the wife of your coworker to say, 'This is God speaking to you.'" And if we let negative attitudes come into our lives and don't let God speak to us, we are going to become just like the Israelites. And what do I mean by that? Just like we heard in the video, Moses was trying to lead these people. He was speaking to God. The Israelites were thirsty, and they complained and said, "Is God forgotten about us? What are you doing to us?" And God said, "Here's all the water you need." And yet, that wasn't good enough for them. Then they said, "We're so hungry, Moses. Why are you doing to this?" And Moses said, "God will provide." And what did God do? Food just every day came out of heaven. More than they could, just enough for them to eat every day to make them full. It was a miracle. Also in the story, they were being chased by the Egyptians. They were trapped. And the Israelites saying, this is it. We can't go anywhere. And Moses and God parted a sea for them to get across. They were wandering in the wilderness. And they turned from God. And they started worshiping other gods. After all of these miracles happened, they still turned from God. And God gave them the 10 Commandments and said, this is our law. This is me. This is God. And they still grumbled and complained and were negative. But God still led them to the promised land. He did not give up on them. So what do we learn from this? God is always there for you. So how do we overcome those toxic, negative thoughts? First of all, stop listening to the world and start listening to God. When you start looking for answers away from God, you're just going to find negativity. Could you go to the next slide, Logan? Philippians 4:8 says, fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about the things that are excellent and worthy of praise. So when you see your mind wandering, and when you see your mind going to things that you shouldn't be thinking about, or things that you shouldn't be doing, or things that just you know aren't right, read Philippians 4:8. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. That just changes your mindset and says, nope, I need to think about what God wants me to think about. And then the second thing is, just start thinking about what would God want me to think about? What does Jesus want me to do? And it says, the next one is Romans 12:2. Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into the new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good, pleasing, and perfect. Always let God transform you. It's so hard not to say no for when your friends are going out and saying, well, they're doing it, why can't I do it? If it's okay for them to do this, even though I know it's probably not right, but everyone else is doing it, even though you know it's not good, you know it's negative, you know it's not the right thing to do. Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world. Do what you know that God wants you to do, which is good and pleasing and perfect. The more we listen to God through reading the Bible, learning about Him in your small groups like you're going to do tonight, the more we'll start to think like God does, and we'll see what's true and start seeing the positive in our lives instead of the negative. That's where you start getting those negative thoughts out of your head. That's where you start seeing those positive, those good things that are happening, and then that's when the love starts flowing out of your heart. That's when you can start serving others. That's when you can start going out and sharing the good news of Jesus. All right, how many people have heard of Kid President before? Okay, so about 8 or 9 years ago, Kid President was like 9 years old. Okay, and he started doing these things called just different videos and stuff like that. Well, he's a lot older now. Okay, you know, he doesn't stay a little kid anymore. Do you know that? Okay, so he's older now. Now, about a year ago, he did another video. Did you know that? He did a video when he was older. Just to inspire you again, he did a video just to tell this kind of the same thing, that he kind of did another pep talk for you, and we're going to watch it. It's about 2 minutes long. But just to say that don't forget to be good. Okay, don't forget that there's good in all of you, that you can always remember to be good and do good and spread love. So, Logan, go ahead, play it.
I learned we all need a pep talk.
He's older, isn't he? need a pep talk.
I think we all need a pep talk.
You. We need you. Now, I'm not trying to sound needy, but I'm just saying, we need you. We need every voice. Little voices, shaky voices, any voice looking to spread love. We need the young. We need the people who might have forgotten what it's like to be young. We need the hopeful. We need the hopeless, the usual, and the unusual, because we can't handle any more business as usual. We posted a video on the internet. Brad wrote a pep talk, well, because he needed a pep talk. And I know what it's like to need a pep talk, so I delivered it. We put it online and realized lots of other people need a pep talk. Teachers, parents, kids, Beyonce, people who aren't Beyonce, more people than I even knew existed. There are people all around you who need reminding, to laugh, to dance. We can remind each other of all the reasons there are to dance, and there's lots of reasons to dance. I mean, if you're looking for them. So look for them, because your dance moves, they're needed. Even if they're awkward, especially if they're awkward. Your joy, it's needed. We are little reminders to each other to stay unusual. Whether you're Michael Jordan and you were in Space Jam, or if you're just somebody who's watched Space Jam. A lot guilty. You are needed. There are people all around you who need reminding, and you can let them know. We can help each other roll on when we can't do things on our own. If this journey has taught us anything, it's taught us that. The little words created out of big love, that can go a long way. So here's to love. Here's to throwing parades for each other. Parties that cheer each other on. Wise friends to light the way. We need reminders that amazing things can happen, because they do, all the time. And one of them is you. We can brighten up every room we enter, every place we go, the entire world. But only if we take care of each other. Together, we're unstoppable. So we gotta stop stopping each other from being unstoppable. That made sense, right? What I'm trying to say is that we got too much goodness to be spread. Pep talks are nice, but they're not a one-time thing. We all need them again from time to time, because people grow. Days pass, times change, challenges come, and we all need little reminders that we're here. Reminders why we're here. The most amazing thing is the fact that we're here together right now. One chapter may be ending, but there's a whole big story that we're telling together. So we'll keep pep talking, and we hope you will too. Sometimes it'll be seen, sometimes it won't, but it always matters. Believe me, I know. Because love changes everything. So let's fill the world with it.
All right. So, we all need a pep talk. We all need to know that negativity does not define us. God's love defines who we are. He loves us. He needs us. And He will always be here for us. So let's pray before we go to our small groups. Dear Heavenly Father, I just thank you for the example that you gave us in Exodus, how no matter how much we're going to grumble, how much we're going to complain, how much negative thoughts we have, you're always going to be here for us. And just thank you for the example that you gave us through Moses, that you're never going to give up on us. And just help us be fixed on you, reading our Bibles, praying, and no matter what, that we need to focus our hearts and minds on just whatever is true, whatever is lovely, whatever is honorable, is pure, and just always be glorifying you in everything we do. In your name we pray. Amen. All right, have a good week, everyone.